guys, so this week's material was focused on personal informatics. Personal informatics is a system of data collection on an individual to monitor themselves for self-reflection and self-monitoring. In terms of healthcare, personal informatics are tools in which an individual can use for self-tracking their health, such as activity levels, blood pressure, and caloric intake. In the first article, How Self-Tracking Biometrics Influence Patients' Medicine Society, the author discusses the use of biometrics and its role on individual lives and its impact on healthcare. One point made is that one can only improve their health if they know what is wrong, and this can be determined by wearable medical devices. One example is the Apple Watch, in which it has a heart health tracking feature, which can monitor irregular heart rhythms while being worn. There are many benefits to wearables, such as it's convenient for daily use and that it's cost-saving in the long run. This allows for doctor consultations to be cut in half, time-wise and quantity-wise. Since by wearing a smart device, data collected from it can be sent to the doctor and be monitored periodically. The doctor can keep the patient updated regularly and be in contact when there is an irregularity in the data, such as the Apple Watch, which can generate an ECG test to generate the electrical activity of the heart. This allows for a patient to only come in when needed. Some concerns about wearing smart devices is patient privacy. The author notes a lack of regulation in the field revolving the storage and usage of patient data. Third parties can get involved, which can be tricky since sometimes the patient does not know where their data is being used. The cost of wearables is also a top concern in this field, in that if a wearable can improve one's health, why is it not covered by insurance? Why is it not easily accessible? The new Apple Watch is available for $699. Most of the wearable devices offer a premium or subscription in order to use all the features that the device offers, such as the Fitbit Premium. For only $10 a month, it can provide personalized insights to working out, nutrition, and sleep. The author notes a digital divide, as these devices are only available to a certain group of people with a higher economic status. The data collected from a wearable can only work if patients are engaged in monitoring their own health. The main goal of biometrics and personal health monitoring devices is for healthcare professionals to diagnose and monitor patients by following the data. I personally support the usage of wearables because there should be a constant flow of communication between the patient and doctor. One thing I found interesting in the article was that voice tracking and AI can be used in the future for prevention and detection in relation to our mental state. I think it's really interesting how we can devise algorithms and devices to help detect mental health disorders such as depression rather than going to counseling or therapy and get a diagnosis from another human being.
Hi, my name is Megan, and I'm going to be talking about lived informatics, which is the use of activity tracking apps and the many different reasons behind it. It is a social and collaborative experience, and it goes beyond health and well-being because it affects all aspects of life, whether it's like finance or traveling, things like that. So there was a study that was done on 23 people where they were interviewed regarding which tracking technologies they use. The findings were that they were all very diverse. They use things for like tracking their weight, their steps, food, and sleep. They also discussed the 5 styles of tracking, which is like directive tracking, which is goal driven, documentary, which is like just documenting the behavior but not actually changing it, diagnostic, which is looking for links between one thing and another, collecting rewards just for like achievements and points, and then fetish tracking because like people just thought it was cool to see like the gadgets and the tech behind things. Overall, I felt this article was very interesting because we got to see the reasons people use tracking and the styles that I didn't even realize existed because of my own personal like reasons of why I would use the tracking. But I feel like it's becoming more social. Whether or not it's gonna affect like patient or doctor care is really interesting to see, and I feel like it's becoming like even an outlet for people to help them get through their day-to-day lives.
We'll be talking about the health app MyFitnessPal, which allows users to track their daily food and beverage intake, log their physical activity, and give them access to a health and wellness blog as well as community of users. So the app is user friendly and has a barcode scanning feature, which makes tracking those kinds of foods very simple. But when making something from scratch, it inputting this information can be tedious and unpleasant, which makes long-term tracking not super practical for the users. It's also difficult for the app to give individualized weight loss and physical activity estimates because there are so many variables when it comes to exercise and weight loss. And this can lead to unrealistic goals for the users since the estimates are based off just a general statistics. And overall, the app is good for keeping track of a diet, especially if it's requested by the doctor. But improvements to MyFitnessPal and to future applications can be useful for user knowledge when it comes to especially nutrition, but also just for doctor-patient relations, and can make clinical visits much simpler.
My experience with personal informatics is through Clue, a period tracking app. What I find most beneficial about Clue is that besides tracking my period, it provides a lot of information that enables me to learn and understand more about my cycle, such as what PMS is, what is considered healthy symptoms, and when to consult a doctor. It is convenient in that it accurately predicts not only future periods 3 months in advance, but PMS and fertilization windows as well. The app is also free, which makes it easily accessible to those with smartphones. It is important to note that, like all health apps, you get what you put in, so the accuracy and results of this app is solely based on how accurate and consistent the user is with recording data. As a user who has a harder time understanding technology, I appreciate its simplicity, making it easy to use. It's also appealing to the eye, which encourages me to want to use the app. A con that I have is that its options are very limited in terms of symptoms you can record. The period app I used before Clue allowed me to label the severity of each symptom, which I found beneficial when speaking to my doctor and gynecologist.